guys, it's Audra. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my hair care routine. A lot of you guys have been asking for this, so I'm going to share you all of my tips and tricks to how I have transformed my hair over the last few years, because my hair has been through a lot. Before I get into kind of my whole routine and what I do on a daily basis, I'm going to tell you kind of a background story and where I came from and how I got my hair just totally messed up, and then we'll get into how I fixed it. So growing up, I had pretty normal hair. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any scalp issues or anything like that. Everything was totally fine. I've always had pretty fine and thinner hair. I've always been super jealous of my friends who have, like, when they put their hair up in a ponytail, it's like that thick. When I put my hair up in a ponytail, it's like that thick. Kind of just learned how to just like be like, okay, you know, let's just work with what you got type of thing. So I did not start noticing issues with my hair until after I got off of birth control. Okay, so I was on birth control for a few years back when I was like 20, 21-ish. While I was on birth control, my hair was literally amazing. Like, I loved my hair at that point. I don't know if it was just all of like the extra hormones in my body that were just like pumping out the hair or what was going on, but my hair was super healthy when I was on birth control. And when I decided to get off of birth control, because it was literally awful for my body in more ways than one, a few months later I started to notice a lot of issues with my hair, specifically hair loss. And so that's very typical. It's normal for a lot of people to experience that. And you know, my hair is already kind of thin to begin with, and so I freaked out and I was like, what is going on? So then a few years later, I got a job working at a fast food restaurant, and one of the requirements that we had as like a worker, you had to wear a specific uniform. And a part of the uniform for girls was you had to wear your hair back in a ponytail, and you also had to wear a visor. This wasn't like, you know, 2 or 3 hours here or there type of thing throughout the week. This was day in, day out, 8 hours a day with my hair pulled back into a really tight ponytail with a visor on top. Within a few weeks of time, I started to have like breakage like around right here, and I literally had like a mullet because all this top part right here was like cut off and all this was long. But once your hair breaks, you just have to wait until it grows back out. And then a few years after that, I decided to try what's called no poo. This is where you don't use shampoo, okay? That's what it is. So you don't use shampoo. You kind of like go through this time, this transition time of not washing your hair, and you kind of just let your natural oils take over, and it just kind of gets out all that stuff. Like, that's the theory, and that works for a whole lot of people. And I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this right now have done it and you've had amazing success and you haven't washed your hair in like 10 years. Like, I'm jealous of you because I wish I could do that. But I did it, and within about, like, I just kept pushing myself and just being like, it's gonna work out. Like, I know this is gonna work out. It works out for everybody. Let's just see if it works for me. It got worse and worse and worse, to the point to where my scalp was ruined. I had a lot of issues with my scalp, a lot of issue with like sebum production, and it has literally taken me just about 3 years to get that fixed. That's something that you do and you are wildly successful at it. Keep doing your thing, but for me, it did not work. The last thing that I realized that was hurting my hair was the fact that I never got my hair cut, ever. I think I went for like the longest stint of time for getting my hair cut was like 5 years. I just never got it cut, just because I never think I needed to get it cut. What I learned was that cutting your hair regularly, like especially every 6 to 8 weeks, is very good for it, because if not, you'll start to develop split ends, and then those split ends will start breaking up your hair, and then you have a whole lot of just uneven hair all over. I've been through it all. I know what it's like to have hair loss and scalp issues and breakage. So let me just share a couple of my major big tips if you have experienced any of those things and you kind of want to start getting your hair in transition, because that's where I am right now. My hair is worlds away from where it used to be, but I'm still not where I want to be, so I'm still continuing this, and these are the best things I can advise. Number one is to find a salon or find a hairdresser that you really like and keep going back to the same person. This was such an issue for me because after all that my hair had been through, every time I would go to a new salon, I had to like explain all of this, and it was very kind of just draining for me because I was like, oh my god, I have to tell another person about all this stuff that I've been through. Well, I have found a lady here that I work with, and this is not like super fancy salon. This is literally just like your basic run-of-the-mill hair cutting place. But I found her and we clicked. I really, really like her. She's super sweet, and I told her my story once, and I don't have to ever tell her again. So she knows every time that I come in, we're just gonna get a quick trim. We don't have to ask a lot of questions and go into like the history of everything because it just stresses you out. So that's my number one tip. Find a place and a hairdresser that you really like and go to them regularly. Don't jump around. And a part of that is get your hair trimmed every 6 to 8 weeks. So it does not have to be a full-on cut, but you can just tell them that you want to get it dusted. And what that means is that they're just going to take off a tiny little bit off the ends to kind of help with the split ends. But that has helped me so much, so I really encourage you to do that. Okay, so the third tip is to take a look at your diet and your stress. So when I say diet, I'm talking about big picture like macronutrients, so protein, carbs, and fat. Be sure that in your daily diet you're getting a good amount of carbs, a good amount of protein, and a good amount of fat. Because I know for me personally, when I have gone on super low carb or no carb diets or no protein or no fat diets, my hair has really suffered. So if you're interested in trying to figure out how you can do this in a good, healthy, balanced way, you can check out my other videos about the Vegan 5. It's a way of eating that I've developed where you get all of these different things in at least 1 meal per day. And so you're just ensuring that you're getting a good amount of carbs, a good amount of protein, a good amount of fat every single day, because that's really gonna show up in your hair. And along with getting a good variety of different macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat, be sure that you're getting micronutrients as well. So that means vitamins and minerals that you're going to be getting from vegetables and stuff like that. And the second part about this is stress. So try to stay as stress-free as possible. And this is any type of stress, whether it's psychological, emotional, mental, physical, whatever. Try to stay super stress-free as best as possible. Like, I know I'm the biggest stressed person ever, but when I notice that I'm super stressed, my hair suffers as well. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the diet, because if you're eating a super low carb, low fat, low protein diet, your body sees that as a stress and it will react to that, in whether it's a lot of breakage or hair loss or whatever. My fourth tip is to be gentle with your hair. I was the world's worst at this. I would get out of the shower and my hair would be wet and it'd be all knotted up or whatever, and I would start brushing it and I would just like brush through the tangles. Like, it was horrible. And I didn't realize every time I did that, like, I was either pulling hair out of my scalp or I was breaking hair off, whether it was at the end, the middle, the top, whatever. As well as whenever you dry it, like with a towel dry, just kind of like lightly dab it. You don't have to sit there and like rustle it all up and be it all rough with it. And if you're one of these people who puts the towel up on top of your head and you kind of wrap it up, be very gentle when you wrap it as well. Same thing goes for if you wear your hair up a lot. I like to use like thicker scrunchy or thicker hair bands. I don't like to use the really thin ones that's just gonna cut into my hair and break it off to where I have a mullet again. And my fifth tip is to wash your hair regularly. So again, if you're one of these people who has just mastered the whole I only shampoo like once a year or never or once a week, keep doing your thing. Like, if that's working for you, seriously, do your thing. But for me, I cannot do that. Like, I have to wash my hair regularly. Be sure that you invest in a good, high quality shampoo and conditioner. In my last video that I did, my June favorites, I showed my favorite shampoo and conditioner if you want to check that out. Now let's get into the actual routine that I do for my hair. It all starts the night before. So what I do is I make a coconut oil mask for my hair. And this sounds way more complicated than it is, but it's not complicated at all. So all you're going to need is some coconut oil and a satin or silk hair bonnet, and you just take some coconut oil and you just put it all over your hair. You can just decide how much you want to put on. You can put on a ton or just try to hit the ends, but I like to work it all through my hair, trying to get as much as I possibly can on every single hair strand and just make sure that it's really, really well coated. And once I finish that, then I just kind of twist my hair up into a little bun in the back, and then I put on my fun hair bonnet. So I know this might seem kind of goofy and you might kind of feel stupid wearing this thing. Trust me, I do sometimes. but it helps so much, and the satin and the silk is so gentle on your hair, so it's not going to cause any breakage at all. So I really encourage you to invest in getting one of these. And you might get a little bit of coconut oil on you, so just kind of wipe that off with a towel, and then you're going to go to sleep. So I sleep with mine on throughout the night, and sometimes the coconut oil does get on my sheets. It washes right out and it's no problem at all. So the next morning when I take my shower, I use my Nature's Gate shampoo and conditioner. And when I use these products, I be sure not to make any type of big bunches of tangles or anything like that on top of my hair. And I also use the tips of my fingers. I never use my nails to kind of scratch my hair or my scalp because it will cause damage to the root and then my hair won't grow very well. So I rinse that out, and after that I apply conditioner. And I like to just coat my hair really well with conditioner, trying to work it into every strand. Again, not making a lot of knots or tangles, and I let that sit for about 2 to 3 minutes before rinsing it with cold or cool water. Then I will gently towel dry my hair, being very careful with it, and I will loosely put it up into a towel wrap on top of my head. And I'll just kind of let that sit throughout the next few minutes while I'm putting on my makeup and just getting ready and doing some stuff around the house. And once I take it down, I like to use this big wide tooth comb that I got. I don't use the really thin parts because I don't want to deal with any breakage when I come over like a knot or a tangle or anything like that. So if I have done everything correctly up until this point, meaning that I used the coconut oil, I didn't make a bunch of tangles or knots when I was doing shampoo and conditioner, then I shouldn't have any tangles or knots at all. So this next trick is what I do to get volume, and I don't like to use any products in my hair, and so this is what my hairdresser told me to do. She said to wrap the top part of your hair up on top of your head and secure it with a bobby pin. And you're going to want to let that sit and air dry for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how thin or thick your hair is. And this is the final product. As you can tell, my hair gained a lot of volume just in that short time. So I just take it down and I will gently use a hair straightener on just some parts of my hair that might have some frizzy parts or curls that just aren't really vibing with me that day. And I don't let it sit on there for very long at all because I don't want to damage my hair, but I do use it a little bit. So that's pretty much it. That's the routine. I try to do this as often as I can. Most of the time I will do the coconut oil mask about 2 to 3 times per week, but everything else is about the same. This whole routine has been amazing for my hair, so I hope that you try it out, and if you do, please let me know how it goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.